To the Pastor's Podcast. It is good to have you with me. It is Wednesday morning, March the 4th, and I'm looking forward to our first Wednesday night service in the month of March. Continuing on the lesson on the traditions. I got 2 more weeks on it. I know I'm not going to finish tonight. No way I'm going to finish tonight, but I will finish next week. And then, of course, that's right before the Old Paths Conference, and that's right around the corner. Yesterday, a busy day yesterday, getting some things done, getting ready for the conference here, and waiting for God to do something mighty as we move forward. And I hope that whoever you are, that you're getting ready to come. If you've not yet registered, please go to the Old Paths Conference website, oldpathsconference.com, register there. And we're looking forward to God doing something mighty in our midst, and looking forward to the preachers coming in and seeing what God's going to do. It's going to be a great day, and I'm looking forward to all that God is going to do here as we move forward for the Lord. Excited about that. Today, I want to talk about when you lose your drive. Joshua chapter 16, verse 10, the scripture says, "And they drave not out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites unto this day and serve under tribute." Now, that tribute's kind of like it's a tax. It's kind of like what President Trump is doing when he's with all the countries that he's taxing them instead of us. And that's what that word tribute is. Now, Israel's demise started when they chose not to drive out all the inhabitants of the land. Now, that was their mistake. When they lost their drive, they began a downward spiral that led to the book of Judges, where every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Now, because they lost their drive, instead of destroying the inhabitants of the land, they ended up joining them in worshiping their gods instead of serving Jehovah God. Now, you cannot lose your drive for God without starting a demise in your own walk with God. Many people had a drive when they first started, but once they had got a few accomplishments, they stopped driving to their own destruction. Now, you cannot lose a drive and then not destroy several things in your Christian life. So I want to share 5 things that you lose when you stop driving forward. First, when you lose your drive, you lose your vision. Vision is the key that keeps excitement and passion in your life. I was talking to someone yesterday, one of my men yesterday, good man. And he said, "Man, preacher," he says, you've done a lot here since you've been here. He says, "You've really grown a lot." He says, "But your vision is amazing." Now, why? I have a drive on the inside. Vision is what makes you get up early because you have something great to do. Vision is what drives you to keep going when you're tired and you don't feel like going. Vision is what causes you to press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of God. Now, if you lose your drive, your vision will diminish very quickly. Second, when you lose your drive, you lose your faith. Faith works are the only thing that helps us to please God. So when you lose your drive, you find there's no more reason to live by faith. Faith is stepping out on the unknown that a vision for God that God has given to you. Now, when you lose your drive, your vision diminishes, and the stomach to step out by faith is no longer there because you don't have any faith that drives you to do something. So first, when you lose your drive, you lose your vision. Then you lose your faith. Then you lose the miracles of God. Israel never saw the miraculous after they stopped driving. Now, there's no need for God to show his power to those who have no drive because they can do what they're doing in their own power. So the greatest reason this generation, I'm talking about our generation, does not see the miraculous as those in the past generation is because this generation has no drive that pushes them to attempt the miraculous. Fourth, when you lose your drive, you lose your testimony. I don't ever want people to talk about how I used to do something. I want people to talk about how I am presently doing something great for God. Your testimony is at stake, my friend. And without a drive, you will lose the influence you had on the lives of people. Fifth, when you lose your drive, you lose the next generation to the world. Joshua 24:31 says, "And Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua, all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, which had known all the works of the Lord that he had done for Israel. So this all happened because they lost their drive. So get this now. So it really comes down to one thing. That you've got to get this mindset that you've never achieved. Never. If you look at your life and see you have much more to do for Christ than what you have achieved for Christ, that will help you to keep your drive alive. One of the mistakes this generation makes is that we look at what we have. Okay, let me just illustrate just a little bit. There's a lot of pastors out there. They're good men, but they don't have any vision. They have no drive anymore. They're just going week by week. They're happy with what they have. They have no vision to build their church because now they're giving their excuses of why they can't. And they're more interested in getting clicks on social media than they are in trying to put people in the seats of the church. And they stopped their soul winning. They got comfortable with what they have. So instead of going soul winning and trying to bring people in, then they criticize the soul winner and say, you're 1, 2, 3, pray after me. That's the dumbest thing in the world. Only idiots say that. I mean that. That's just being kind. Well, you're picking green fruit. Yeah, but it's still fruit. Well, you're just making them pray a prayer. You're a short prayer person. Well, okay. I don't know if you've read the Bible, but there is never a prayer in the Bible. Lord, save me. That was 3 words. Man, that guy, I bet God didn't save him because that prayer was too short. These idiots, and I mean it, these guys are idiots. And let me tell you what else was wrong. You got a lot of preachers having these guys in because they have a lot of good little sound bites, but look at their soul winning. And some of you guys need to wake up. We're losing our drive because we're bringing guys in that have no drive. They're just hanging on, and they're criticizing the guy that's doing something. I wouldn't give you a dime for a missionary or an evangelist that wants that all of his whole life, all of his writings are all about criticizing the soul winner, criticizing the guy that's doing something. They would criticize Jesus because the thief really did. It wasn't a long conversion. They would be the ones crucified. They're no different than the Pharisees. Well, I could name their names. I won't, but I think some people know what I'm talking about. These guys, they're enamored by their little clips that they say. Well, but that's a good clip. Yeah, but look at what they believe about the old time religion and soul winning. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot lose our drive. We're losing this country because of a bunch of yahoos out there that are criticizing soul winning. They're trying to clean up everybody else instead of going out and reaching people for Jesus Christ themselves. They're more busy traveling than they are staying home, trying to reach the people in their own area where God's called them to go. And I'm not against a preacher traveling. I do a little bit of traveling, but I'm not against it. But my friend, when you stop your soul winning and you stop your vision and you no longer have a drive to build your church and you excuse away why your church is, well, that's small because of this, then you're dying and you're going to criticize everybody else that's doing something because you're a loser. That's the problem. We got a bunch of losers out there traveling and telling everybody what, and they criticize and they're killing our soul winning ministries. When I have a guy in, if I feel like he's going to kill my soul winning ministry by his little statements, I'm going to stop having him in my church. You say, why? Because I can't afford to have that. God sent the church to go reach the lost, and as a pastor, nobody's gifted to be a soul winner. Everybody's commanded to be a soul winner. There's people dying and going to hell. We've lost our drive. We've lost our vision. And I'll tell you why. Because the most popular guys are the compromising, the non-soul winning, the clean up all the churches in America, the let me write an article against all the guys who have easy believism, whatever that is. It is easy to believe. It's just as easy as drinking a glass of water. It's easy as walking through a door. It's as easy as taking a gift. That's what God says. So I don't care what these guys say, but we've got to stop listening to them. Stop making them our heroes. They need to become the villains. You see, we villainize the guy winning souls and building a church. And we make a hero out of the guy who's lazy bum who rarely goes soul winning and wants to criticize everybody else. Now, listen to me. If we don't keep our drive, we're going to become like the book. And let me tell you something. In America, we've become like the book of Judges. Most churches are, every man does that which is right in his own eyes. And we're just trying to get by until the Lord comes. What if the Lord chooses not to come for another 500 years? So we're going to let all these people die and go to hell because we're just getting by? I don't know when the Lord's going to come. They expected him to come back in the book of Acts. Book of Revelation, John expected the Lord to come. Even so, come, Lord, quickly. He expected it. Boy, I'm glad he didn't just hang on. Let's stop hanging on. Let's get a drive back inside of our soul, and let's go build some churches for the Lord Jesus Christ, keeping souls out of hell. My friend, if we can do that, we can keep the fire and the drive alive. I want to keep it alive until the day I die. I don't know about you, but that's what I want to do. So let's keep it going. Let's do what we can to keep the drive alive. Well, I hope this is a challenge and a help to you today. Now, let's remember, let's be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great day, my friend.